there is a lack of information about the achievements of African Americans in our community. This is an opportunity to get some of that information out there. The things that we talk about aren't readily discussed in the schools. So this is an opportunity for not only the students, but the audience, the parents, the educators as well, to learn information about our heritage and the things that we've contributed to the society.
Thank everyone for coming out to participate in the African American Quiz Bowl. Really appreciate you being here.
My organization is the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. We were created November 17, 1911 on the campus of Howard University. Currently, I am the president, or what we would call the bossilus, of the Iota chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity here in the Raleigh area. The African American History Bowl is one came of concept just on the portion of being able to give African Americans a chance in the school systems to learn about the history. It is African American history, but it is really American history. What we're trying to sell is that our allegiance, our dedication to this country, and what we have offered and given to make this country great. And in that quiz bowl, the children from elementary, middle school, and high school get the opportunity to learn what we have been able to demonstrate and give to this wonderful country that we have.
All right, we'll start with the elementary schools. I know you all are excited. And we have the elementary school representing Bowl RTN Community Center. Let you know it's been here.
Dwight Coleman has led it into a new facility. We had it on the campus of Shaw University at Esty Hall, and what we've seen is the students and the impact that it has. It has grown from where we had maybe 5 schools total to this time we had pretty close to maybe 25 schools or 25 contestants of teams getting together to compete for the prizes that we offer, and the opportunity for the high school to go down to the 6th district, which will be in Greensboro, North Carolina in April, to compete against North and South Carolina for the championship of the Quiz Bowl.
Underwood Elementary, all right, y'all make some noise for them. All right. We got Sterling Montessori. All right.
Elijah said he's ready. What school you going to, Elijah?
Grand Road Elementary.
The African American Historical Awareness Competition has been going on for, this is the 15th year we've done it. My fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Iota chapter, has sponsored it for the past 15 years. It's grown, we've seen it grow quite a bit during that time. We've gone from maybe having 4 or 5 teams in a year or at a competition to this year we had 25. We've seen as many as 32 teams come through in a year. At 3 divisions: elementary, which is 3rd through 5th grades, middle, which is 6th through 8th grades, and high school, which is 9th through 12th. This year's winners were, and I can cover the first place winners. At the high school level, it was Top Teams of America. At the middle school level, it was Zebulon Middle School. And at the elementary level, it was Wakefield Elementary.
My name is Jamisha Johnson. I'm a school counselor at Wakefield Elementary, and we were the 2017 winners of the African American Awareness Quiz Bowl.
My name's Ayushi Mohanty. My full name is Leia Gabrielle Nero, but you can just call me Leia.
Case Keach. Wakefield Elementary.
We heard about the competition through the Iota Iota chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. The Brothers of the Fraternity invited all Wake County schools as well as private and charter schools to participate in the Quiz Bowl via email. We received the email through our school counselor, Ms. Johnson, and our principal thought, we all supported getting a team together and preparing for the competition.
I have to say the most interesting fact that I learned would be about Kwanzaa and how it is on the 26th of December and ends on January 1st.
That we do not only for this week, but for the entire year. The purpose is to be reaffirmed.
The most interesting fact was about Carter G. Woodson. He was the most outspoken proponent in African American history.
During the time that Dr. Woodson taught at Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C., he became convinced that something needed to be done about the history of African Americans. African Americans were either being ignored or misrepresented, and Carter G. Woodson was not going to allow that to continue. In 1915, the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History was founded. It was created to promote and preserve African American history and culture. He also founded the Journal of Negro History in 1916 as a tool to get information to the masses. He knew that his research would not be widely distributed in a segregated America, so he took care of that himself. In 1917, Dr. Woodson wrote his first book, The Education of the Negro Prior to 1861. This piece is considered his most important contribution. Because of the difficulty he had in publishing his works, Dr. Woodson founded the Associated Publishers in 1921 to publish books and other information about Black life and history. He ultimately wrote or co-wrote 22 books, among them The Negro in Our History and The Miseducation of the Negro. In 1926, Dr. Woodson founded what was called the Negro History Week. It was to expand awareness of the contributions of African Americans to our society and to instill pride in the hearts of Black men, women, and children. A celebration that has grown into Black History Month and is embraced and celebrated as a part of the American fabric.
African American history is important to all of our students because African Americans have made such great contributions to education, to Wake County, to North Carolina, and to the country.
Muhammad Ali famously said that I am America, the part you won't recognize, black, confident, cocky. You might not know me, get used to me.
Well, I'm the greatest, and I'm knocking out all bums. And if you get too small, I'll knock you out.
We get the packet and we have about a month or so or a little bit less time to work on learning facts. And it is about 75 to 80 facts in the packet, very detailed information, dates, names, contributions. There's even like a paragraph of just information, and you kind of have to decipher what is important. We work with our students during their lunch times. They take time out of their day during their recess to work together. And we kind of quiz them. We go through the facts ourselves, myself and our other coach, Ms. Tane Williams.
We thought that it would be great to get our students together to fill in some of the gaps that aren't there in the curriculum and make sure that they can dig deep into the study materials that were provided, learn more about African Americans who have contributed to our society, and then go to the competition and knock it out.
We had the competition on March 4th. So we started off by welcoming the audience there and all the students and commending them on being there and learning more about our history. And then we go and honor our legends, our local legends. This year we had 3 honorees. They were Brother James Emerson, who was a fellow member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, as well as Brother J.B. Allen, who's also a member of our fraternity, as well as Dr. Carolyn Grantham Ennis, who was a Shaw graduate, and she's very well known for her work in education in Johnson County.
The middle schoolers will be going next door to the red Yancey building. And the high schools will be going 1 block over to the Talbot Shaw Living Center building.
Next question. The correct answer, Uncle Simmons.
Well, my role as an advisor actually started the year after I found out about the African American Quiz Bowl. My daughter was a student at Carver Elementary School in Wendell, and we had to do the permission forms, and her teacher had selected her to be a participant. So we went to the competition, and that's when I found out about it, and we had helped her practice and everything, so I thought it was a great competition. And the next year I got a team together from Zebulon Middle, and we went for the first time, and we came in second place. But since then, I think it was 2007 until now, until last year, we were first place winners, and I think that was 2007, yes, until 2015. And we were the reigning champs. So that was consecutive, but last year we did not participate, and we came back this year and we won again.
And my name is David Ramter. Now in a Dogby.
My name is Oriane Baloch.
My name is Catherine Faith Ellis.
I actually go to my teachers, my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers, and I find out who are those children that have really great study habits, they're dependable, just looking for certain things, and they give me the names. And this year, the same names kept coming up from most of the teachers, and those are the students I lobbied, and I said, I want you guys to do this, and I told them what it was about, and I sent a letter home with their parents, and they all stayed. I think I had no one to say no, and they jumped in, and they've worked tremendously hard, and I'm just so proud of them, and I know they were proud of themselves on Saturday, but at one point they were going, oh my gosh, but they did a great job.
The most interesting fact I learned was about Malcolm X and how he was actually born Malcolm Little.
Connor. What is your real name?
Malcolm X.
Is that your legal name?
As far as I'm concerned, it's my legal name.
Have you been to court to establish this?
I didn't have to go to court to be called Murphy or Jones or Smith. Excuse me for answering you this way.
That's
if
all right.
a Chinese person were to say his name was Patrick Murphy, you would look at him like he's insane, because Murphy is an Irish name, a European name, or the name that has a Caucasian or white background. And a yellow person, Chinese is a yellow man, and he has nothing to do or no connection whatsoever with the name Murphy. And if it doesn't look proper for a person who is yellow or Chinese to be walking around named Murphy or Jones or Johnson or Bunch or Powell, I think it would be just as improper for a black person or the so-called Negro in this country, as we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to walk around with these names. And therefore he teaches us that during slavery, the same slave master who owned us put his last name on us to denote that we were his property. So that when you see a Negro today who's named Johnson, if you go back in his history, you'll find that he was once his grandfather, or one of his forefathers was owned by a white man who was named Johnson. His name is Bunch. His grandfather was owned by a white man that was named Bunch.
Would you mind telling me what your father's last name was?
My father didn't know his last name. My father got his last name from his grandfather, and his grandfather got it from his grandfather, who got it from the slave master. The real names of our people were destroyed during slavery.
Was there any?
It was about the African American director, Tim Story, and how he's the #1 African American director in the world, with his 7 feature films grossing over $1 billion.
It's weird. My story goes from, through film school and then into indie films and then into music videos. And the weird thing about me is I never had a plan B. So it was kind of,
I was either going to die at this or, or at least that's what you think when you're young and you can conquer the world. But I just kind of always kept going, and luckily enough, stuff happened in my career and you were able to kind of make a living at it, and you look up and you keep rolling. So I always just made it a point to just keep stepping.
The most interesting fact I learned was about Hadiah Nicole Green. She's 35 years old and she developed a novel cancer treatment using laser activated nanoparticles.
We can provide a local therapy just at the site of the tumor. It's like using a spotlight to highlight a whole room versus using a laser pointer in a specific location. I designed it for solid tumors. It's working in mice, and we've demonstrated that after a single 10-minute treatment, there's a 40% reduction of the tumor volume. The other platform that I developed, after a single 10-minute treatment, there's approximately 100% tumor regression over the course of 10 to 15 days. Even though I didn't observe any side effects in mice, we still have to translate it properly for humans. It's not a cure-all. I'm one of less than 100 African American women with a PhD in physics in the United States. Starting with the intention that something else is possible motivated me to get to this point. My dream was to develop a treatment that didn't have those type of side effects, that the treatment would be limited just to the site of the tumor. But it's imperative that everybody who's tired of the way cancer is being treated stands up and fights with me, so that one day this treatment is available for everyone that chemotherapy and radiation cannot help.
The information has been updated. When they first started, there was a lot of great information, and it's still great information for African American, but also for America, because that's the foundation of what we have here. It's a culmination, it's a melting pot, just like New York City or any of the other cities where so many ethnicities come together. So you need to know a little bit about everybody, and it's important that we know about our African American history and also to share it with everyone else.
The one I found the most interesting was about James E. Shepard. He was an educator, pharmacist, and civil servant. The reason I found him interesting was because before we became Zebulon Middle School, we were James E. Shepard High School.
So we live today in a society which asks what sort of government it should have, what sort of life that government should make possible, what provision should be made for the aged and infirm, what should be done with our unemployed, how society should deal with its rebels, its criminals, and lazy members, whether our present economic system distributes employment and profits fairly, by what standards should shape their behavior towards each other, and what each of us should do with those hours of life when we are left to ourselves.
Very beginning, however, we've seen in recent years, in the past 5 years or so, the kids have gotten more bright, and they've become very adept to understanding the competition and how it works, and they've gotten really good at just soaking in that information. It's become much more competitive as the years have gone by.
The total scores. Ravenscroft, 200 for round 2. Total, 290. Broughton, round 2, 200. Total, 295. All right, top teams. Round 2, 190. Total, 275.
Teams of America is part of Top Ladies of Distinction. It is an international organization, a service organization.
My name is Amanania Jacobs.
Christian Judkins.
My name is Viviana Mateo. Crystal Griffiths.
I've been working with the African American Quiz Bowl since probably 2007. I started working with elementary children, and one of them, which was my daughter, who was in the bowl. And as the years progressed and she grew up, I thought, well, it'd be great for her to participate as middle school and as high school. So I got involved with the upper grade students as well.
The most interesting facts would have to be learning about Miss Ginger Howard. She was a golfer and she turned pro at 17, and that's 1 year younger than me. So she did more in her life than I did.
My ultimate goal as a golfer is to become the first African American to win an LPGA event.
Ginger Howard from Bradenton, Florida.
In 2010, Ginger became the first African American female to compete in the Junior Ryder Cup. Last year, she turned pro.
I was actually really interested. It was interesting to find out that Shaw University graduates founded the universities of North Carolina University, Fayetteville State University, and Elizabeth City State University.
This is Shaw that produced the founding presidents for North Carolina Central, Elizabeth City State, Fayetteville State, all were Shaw alumni. Even the founder of Livingstone studied here before transferring to Lincoln University. This is Shaw University, where North Carolina A&T State University was an annex located on this campus before it ever moved to Greensboro. I said, this is Shaw University. This is the motherland.
So I'd say the most interesting fact would be learning about Judy W. Reed and Miss Good. And so Miss Reed and Miss Good were the first female African Americans to have a patent. And Miss Reed had a patent for the dough knitter and roller, and Miss Good had the foldable bed.
Behold, the folding bed. But where did it come from? Meet Sarah Good, born in Utah in 1850. Sarah Good was born into slavery, but she was freed toward the end of the Civil War. Sarah moved from Utah to Chicago and opened a furniture store selling beds, tables, and other objects to the surrounding city dwellers. It didn't take long for Sarah to notice that her customers shared a common problem. With all of their other furnishings, these customers just didn't have enough room in their tiny apartments for a full-sized bed. Many other furniture dealers would have simply decided to order a smaller supply of beds. But Sarah thought there could be another solution. The folding cabinet bed. Sarah designed a dual-use piece of furniture that could function as a rolling writing desk and also a bed. Here's how it works. A series of hinged sections swung open to reveal a hidden bed. These sections moved easily, so it wasn't a hassle to transform the furniture from a bed into a desk or back again. It's not hard to see how this invention could be popular with apartment dwellers pressed for space. But Sarah's success didn't stop there. On July 14, 1885, she became the first African American woman to acquire a U.S. patent.
So many of our students are not aware of their history, and so having the opportunity to learn facts that some known and some not as well known gives them an opportunity to know their history and to be able to be proud of it and to sort of share it with other people.
The most interesting fact would be that Allensworth was the first African American city to be governed by all African Americans and financed. As an African American, that's nice to know that we have that power and authority.
A lot of people don't know about it. They just happen to stumble across it going up Corcoran Highway 43. Let me see what this place is about.
Just 40 miles north of Bakersfield lies a little town many know little about. On the outskirts of Early Mart, Allensworth was founded by Colonel Allen Allensworth in 1908. Colonel Allensworth, born a slave in 1842 in Louisville, he escaped 20 years later to join the Union Army in the Civil War and later became an Army chaplain and retired as a lieutenant colonel, the first African American to reach the rank. He wanted a place where blacks could live free from discrimination, so he bought 800 acres along the Santa Fe rail line and started the first town in California founded, financed, and governed by African Americans.
People like George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass, we found it's something that you have to do is keep our young people informed as well as keep them involved in their history, and the way to do that is make sure that we update that information. It's not that our history didn't start with Frederick Douglass and it doesn't end with Simone Biles. So it's continuous. So if we're not updating the information, then we're not given the real history that needs to be told.